Hi, Linda.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. I've just come up with a title for this. It's "What the Bleep is Foundation?" And so I got together a bunch of facilitators that are all doing foundation classes in November in Australia, and we wanted to get together and talk a little bit about what foundation is. And I've got a bunch of questions as well, and also open out to anybody who may have questions, who are looking at doing foundation either in November or later on. So we have a few facilitators. I'm a certified access consciousness facilitator. Lauren Marie, who's driving at the moment. Hi, she's up in Queensland. Wendy Mulder, she's also up in Queensland. And then we've got the terrible twins down at the bottom from northern New South Wales, I think, Tiffany and Sue. Yvonne's in the centre there, and she's in Sydney, New South Wales-ish. And Linda, I believe you're still over in Western Australia, is that correct?
I am.
Yeah, and Zah down on the bottom right, who's just putting a photograph up because she doesn't really like being on video. So,
you're so correct.
I'm still psychic. It doesn't get any better than that. So welcome everybody. If you do have questions and you don't want to speak them out, there's a chat that you can actually, if you just scroll over your screen, you'll find a little chat button and you can type in the right-hand side your question. I'm going to open it up to any of the facilitators right now. And my question is, what do you love about foundation class? I mean, you teach it, you facilitate it. What's so cool about it?
I'll jump straight in.
Yeah, Yvonne.
What's so cool about it is when you start talking about this reality and the polarity of it, and the being the effect of the polarity. You know, in this, you open up that conversation into areas of your life, so that it's so much easier to see that. Yeah, it's just it's a gateway to anything else that you do in access consciousness as well. You know, to me it's like the workshop, the gateway, the practical. This is where the fun begins.
Cool. Oh, we've got a few more people coming on now. Mark from Queensland too, and I believe Rachel. Are you living in Victoria now, or are you still in Ireland, Rachel?
I am in Ireland right now.
Oh, cool. And she's a ring-in. She's not an Aussie facilitator, but she does have a class in Australia, in Victoria, at the end of November.
Can I just say I'm so happy to see you here. Yeah. Oh, you're so gorgeous and you're well. Yay!
Oh, cool. I hope you're talking about everybody.
That's the best present.
Oh, that's so cool.
Cool.
Isn't it a miracle?
Actually, I've got some questions. I came up with some questions this afternoon. So, like as a facilitator, of course, all the facilitators have been through foundation several times. They've run their own classes. They were just like you guys too. They started off with a bars class at some time. Then they moved to a foundation class at some time. So what's your favourite day of foundation? 1, 2, 3 or 4?
Wow. Every day.
Every day.
All of them.
All of them. Yes, 1, 2, 3 and 4.
1, 2, 3 and 4. That's so cool. I knew you guys, because I'm psychic, I knew you'd all say all of them.
They're all so different.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, huh? It's all so different. So So which brings me to the next question is, what is different about foundation to any other sort of class that maybe we've all been to on the planet? I know myself, I'd done a trillion different things, and I know a lot of participants or a lot of people that are looking at doing foundation, they're going, so what's different about foundation?
I'd love to jump in. I think what's different, I remember my very first foundation class, and I remember walking out of that class, and literally it's like the veil of the lies of what I'd been sort of taught as real and this reality, the veil of that was just kind of lifted, and I saw something completely different available. And I think, you know, it's 4 days of like world-changing stuff. Like I think I said to you the other day, Liam, on the phone, is like, someone could come and do this class and take away the manual and the recordings, which most people will give you recordings, and it can change your whole fucking life. Like it can change every single thing that you want to be better or greater or different. And if you did nothing else, which why would you not after the foundation, because it's amazing, if you did nothing else than this class, you could literally change anything, like in your body, in your life, in terms of like your bank account and your money flows, like relationships with other people. It's just like off the charts amazing. So yeah.
I love the foundation classes because you go in and you've had this like life that you've created you're not so happy with, and everything that you thought was real and true, being the foundation of what you've created, just gets absolutely smashed to bits. And then you get all these amazing tools to start to create a platform of living, which just like a platform will move and shift in the same way in which you will. So you're always going to have this like beautiful platform to move through. And like what Tiffany said, the platforms are like for every aspect of your living. I can't remember my first foundation class, but I do know it was with Liam.
That may or may not be a good thing. Rachel, I know you're chasing at the bit to say something, so why don't you jump in?
Okay, so I've facilitated this class. There's a new foundation manual, and one of the pieces in the class says, you're in this class because you've a sense that you've got to be here. and that for me is like, people show up and they're like, okay, I've got to do this class and I have no reason. And this is the fundamental shift where it's everything we do in our lives. You must have a reason. You must have a justification for choosing it. So people come into this class going, I just have a sense that I have to be here. And if we all look at that, that's how we showed up in our first foundation. And it's just that piece and that manual is like a gateway to a future that you're capable of being. And you don't even know what it is, but you know what you currently have isn't working. And then that kicks it off for me. And then the whole 4 days are this shift where you realize that everything that you've been told is a crock of shite, as we say in Ireland. And it's like everything you've been told is a complete lie, what Tiffany said. And then you actually start to go, and this is every foundation. Yes, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yes. And people are nodding their heads and they're looking, and you deliver one line and they're like, and that's what the 4 days are, these moments of awakening to what your reality is, to what you know. And then because we've got cellular memory, MTVSS, if you don't know what MTVSS is, it's this process where your body purrs and someone puts their hands on you for 90 minutes and you're like, I love my life. And we have BMM, which is physiologically and psychologically mimicking, for those of you here. I went to a therapist for 3 years, up in my head thinking. No one told me that I had a pathway, a response system to life, which was based on the physiology and my body and the psychology of everyone around me. I mean, has anyone ever told you that you're not the problem, but that you've just adapted to life due to the physiology and the psychology that you've been surrounded. I mean, that's groundbreaking. I mean, no one had ever told me that. And then it's like, oh my God, I just basically have an automatic response to life. And now for me, it was like, whatever it takes, I'm on doing that. And all of us on here, we have never heard that, because I trained as a therapist. Most of us, we know that the way we're responding to life is not working. And then and for me, it's 6 years since I did my first foundation. And as facilitators, every time that I facilitate, I'm like, oh, I didn't see this before. Oh, I didn't see this before. Oh, I didn't see this before. So it's not something that you're like, oh, I read the book, that's it. It is a continuous opening to your reality in this like book that just gives you, it's the Bible for my life. If there's anything going on in my life with my kids last night, I was doing a little bit of control as a mom, and none of you, if you're a parent, you wouldn't know about that. And literally, I just opened the manual. What energy, space, and consciousness can me and my body be to be out of control, out of definition, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities. So it's every time it just like boom, it's amazing.
Thanks, Rachel. Mark, you seem to be showing up on my blip. Have you got something you'd like to add to that, or? Maybe not. Okay, cool. Maybe she'll pop in a minute.
Hey, sorry, Liam. I thought I was on mute. I'm not on mute. I can talk. Actually, I've just returned from Melbourne from having done a foundation down there, and I did my first foundation over 15 years ago. And of course, it's a very different class now to what it is, to what it was back then. As a matter of fact, bars was actually in the 4-day foundation level 1 class. And so now the way Gary has created having the bars as a separate day has been a real gift unto itself, because virtually when it was in the first 2 days of foundation, not a whole lot of time was spent on the bars, and seeing now so many people worldwide getting their bars done almost daily, it's creating such a change, not only for the people in their bodies, but also the change on the planet that's required. So look, foundation for me, I never get sick of facilitating foundation classes. Every person who comes to them is such a gift of contribution. When they bring their questions, they bring their energies, and they're looking for something so different. And as someone who has done hundreds of modalities, you know, to me, I keep choosing Access because it is truly incredibly such a gift of contribution. And wow, I think people are crazy if they don't attend heaps and heaps of Access classes. So I'm excited. I'm excited for those who are ready to step into a class. I'm excited for those who keep on choosing classes. One of the girls in Melbourne had just been her 4th foundation class, and she even just raved about how much more she got from the 4th time. So it's not a class that you go home, put the manual away and never open the manual again or listen to the recordings. As Rachel said, the more you read the manual, the more you listen to the recordings, the more change you actually get to receive. So how did we all get so lucky? I'm so grateful for Gary and Access, because his willingness to step into something different almost 30 years ago has contributed to us all. And wow, I'm so grateful every day.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. But somebody just put in, typed in there, 160,000 people worldwide have attended a bars class.
Wow.
That's phenomenal, you know, like me too. I started off 12, 13 years ago, and the class was so different then. I remember the clearing statements were like half a page long. I mean, I have to remember that. Now the tools are so quick and easy, and just so much fun. So one of the questions that came up for me today was, what's one of the responses that you have from participants in your classes? What are they? Are they anger and rage and fury and hate? Or what are some of the others, not other, what are some of the things that show up in people's lives?
Well, I can only speak, I'll speak again if no one else is. Look, it can bring up so much. I mean, I've just seen so many different responses over 15 years, you know, and it can be anything from incredible gratitude. It can bring up anger, but I see, to me, anger is the awareness of how much we all buy the lie of this reality, you know, and that a lie will always make us angry. And I even know for myself, you know, whenever I get angry, I just ask, okay, am I perceiving lies here? And this whole reality is one big freaking lie, you know. So, you know, the gift of the tools to enable us to create our own reality that goes so way beyond this reality, and to be able to perceive the lies without being at the effect of them. And look, anything can show up in any classes, and the gift of the facilitators is knowing that, you know, they will step into more of the greatness of who they are to bring that contribution to the class. And that's the gift of all of us to each other.
Yeah. As one of the questions that I had written down was, what's your favourite tool? And what I love about this conversation is that you guys have already started talking about the tools in the class without actually even being asked, what's your favourite tool? Like Zara was talking about a platform. And I'm going to steal that, Zara, by the way, because I've never actually, even though you were an ex-student of mine, I'm going to steal that because I've never heard of it. I've never heard it put that way before. And it just like, wow, that's so clear. And I was talking about anger and how we can be angry when there's a lie around, and a few other tools that other people have talked about. But I'm just going to invite the other facilitators. What's your favourite tool or section in the foundation class? Because I know if you go into the index, there's like 2 pages just in the index of so many different subjects. What's your favourite subject to teach or facilitate?
Hi, Liam.
Yeah.
My latest, well, I suppose you could call it the latest, the last couple of years, there's a friend of mine that did a foundation class, and as Dane now calls it, who the fuck does this belong to? I mean, I hadn't used that tool right from the beginning. You know, to me it was so overwhelming, like you say, you know, oh, I've got to remember all that. Well, the clearing that you said may have been that long, but it's like, to me, it was a whole universe of all this amazing stuff that I wanted to find out about. But this lady that did the foundation class with me, she kept picking me up, but the conversations that I had with her after her foundation class, she said, well, who does that belong to? And I thought, shit, yeah, you know, she was facilitating me on it. It was just so magical. So now it is definitely one of my favourite tools.
Yeah.
And what's right about this, we're not getting.
I think that's probably one of our favourite tools in Access, full stop.
Yeah.
Who the hell does that belong to?
Yeah.
I know when I'm having a bad hair day and I ring one of you guys, I know what you're going to ask me. Who does that belong to? Oh, fuck, it's not mine. But Lauren, you're back with us. What's your favourite tool, honey? Or section? Hey! That's one of our younger facilitators.
Exactly. You just had to come and talk as soon as it was time for me to talk, huh? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, what was the question?
In the foundation class.
Gosh, what is my It's like picking one of my favorite kids. You can't just choose one. You know what's really hot right now, though, is interesting point of view. I don't know if you've heard. It's really interesting point of view is a tool that I like to use whenever I have a really like tricky situation or person that's in my life. Like I used to have a lot of trouble being around my mom. Like had so much judgment that wasn't even out loud. And I when I first took the foundation class, I went to visit her, and I had learned to ask this question, or basically to say interesting point of view in your head or out loud anytime there's, like a point of view or a judgment. So everything that came out of her mouth, or everything that was just there when I was around her, in my head, I was like, interesting point of view, interesting point of view. And I interesting point of viewed for 3 days. I changed her number on my phone to Justin Ipop. And at the end of those 3, so what happened for a while was she kept doing it. Like energetically, the judgment kept happening, and then I was just like, interesting point of view, she has a judgment. Interesting point of view, she has a judgment. Interesting point of view, I have a resistance to her judgment. And I just kept doing that tool. Basically, you say that, but you be that energy of like, you don't make it real. It's just an interesting point of view. And then I remember about day 2.5 of my visit, she couldn't do it anymore. It just went poof. And she drove me back to the airport on the 3rd day, and she was like, you have so much, she said something like, you're so peaceful. And I don't know how you ever dealt with me and your dad and your brother growing up. We must have been so crazy. And it was like, who are you, and what have you like done with my mom and replaced her with this person? Because nothing like that has ever come out of her mouth, an acknowledgement of like what actually was true. So I love that tool. Anyone that's like sort of hard for you to be around, if you say in your head interesting point of view about everything that goes on with them, it will change. You might have to do it for 3 days or longer, but it's a magical tool.
Wow, that's magical. I'm going to say story, quote unquote. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Has anybody else got a magical tool, or how they've used one of those tools from Foundation to create seeming miracles?
Can I go? It's
actual miracles.
It's like a quiz where we've all got so much play and fun, and it's like I want to hear everyone else, and then I want to go as well, I just love like with Lauren, because I as being you, Anyway, when I first did my bars class, it said the invitation of access is an invitation to infinite choice and infinite possibilities. And I was like, I haven't got infinite choice. I haven't got infinite possibilities. And I just allowed myself to have that, I was like, this is a crock of shit. Like, I have not got infinite choice. I have not got infinite possibilities. And I allowed that no choice universe, it's there. So one of the invitations of access, and it's in Foundation, and it's another 10 commandment, is would an infinite being choose this? So this is the first place I've never heard anyone say, hey, Liam, hey, Wendy, you're an infinite being with infinite choice and infinite possibilities. I don't know about you guys. No one had ever invited to me the fact that I might not be the girl from where I grew up, and all my definitions and all my limitations, and I was responsible for 3 kids and blah, 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 blah. And no one had ever said, you're an infinite being with infinite choice and infinite possibilities. And that tool is a tool to take you out of everything in your life is a choice, and everything in your life is you created. Now, it's a really advanced concept. Do I live it in every moment of my day? No, I don't. That's right now. But what it always shows me is that right now in this 10 seconds, another one 10 seconds, we've 10 seconds to live. Am I choosing? For what reason am I choosing what I'm choosing? And it's based on that I have a belief system that has been entrained beautifully into our worlds, that I have not got a choice, that I have a finite reality, which means I have to, and all these no choice universes that we were entrained into. And that's this reality that Margaret talked about. It's all these lies and secrets, and you know, today's secret becomes tomorrow's lie, another piece in the manual. And all of these take their time and they load it into your body, where you come into these classes and someone says, you've infinite choice and infinite possibilities. And I truly know that all of us would not be playing with the work, and we wouldn't be here only for the invitation, that all of us are infinite beings beyond the definition of what we've decided, Australian, Irish, whatever. Beyond that is infinite being, infinite choice, infinite possibility. And that's my, if it takes forever, however long it takes, that's what I'm having. And that was something, an access is an invitation to a different possibility. You're an infinite being with infinite choice. Oh my God. I still go, huh?
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up choice, because I know time is getting away from us. So we do have like 20 foundation classes in the month of November in Australia alone, with I think 24 different facilitators. Some people are co-facilitating with others, which can be fun as well. They're all in different parts of Australia. We've got. I'm gonna put a little note here for mine in Thredbo in New South Wales, in the Snowy Mountains, Mount Kosciuszko Park, and we've got New South Wales and Queensland and Victoria and Western Australia. I don't think we've got any in Tasmania, but what else is possible? How do you choose the facilitator for you, or how do you choose the class? I mean, we've got so much choice. It could be a little overwhelming. So would anybody like to chime in with how to choose the foundation that you're looking at?
Well, hi everybody. I've just joined. I've just got back home. It's Fiona here. Yeah, hi. The thing with that, I've got a residential retreat, and it's become very popular actually. You know, people come and stay where I live on our property. We've got a beautiful camping area with cabins, and it's really beautiful, and we do all the food and everything. It's residential, it's lovely. But I always say to my clients, they often come back, but I say, just ask the questions of what's really light and bright for you, what really makes your heart sing, you know, because somebody can come to me, and I've done my bit, and then the next facilitator can then, you know, give them another possibility and so much more, you know. So I always say, every client I work with, even if it's just a one-on-one online, I say, if you know, ask questions, always live in the question and ask, is it light and bright for me if I choose this in 5 years? And they might choose another facilitator, and they often do. And for me, that's cool, because somebody else is going to come in that I can work with, you know. So it's about really living, you know, beyond that competition. And I love the fact that you guys have all got together to create this, because this is really this oneness and this, you know, that we can really now begin, I trust, to create more in Australia, you know, because there's been a lot of separatism here that I've been very aware of. And I think it'd be beautiful to, what else is really possible with everybody here, you know. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to a client about this very same thing today, and one of the things that I said to him was, every single class is different, which I think, Rachel, you touched on before. And so don't even make it about which facilitator. It's like, recognize that like one facilitator may do 3 different classes, and one of those classes may be the class for you and the other 2 not. Because every class has its own energy based on the actual energy of the class and the life force that it is. The facilitator, every single being and person and body that shows up in that class and, you know, trust that you will know, and don't make it about doing, you know, doing what's going to make the person that you've done your bars with happy or anything like that. It's like, choose for you and know that
Yeah.
and yeah, choose that and have fun.
Yeah.
You mean you can actually have fun choosing for you?
No.
Oh my God. How does it get any better?
Can I just also say one more thing about, I just want to say one more thing about what you guys were talking about before in terms of, you know, favorite tools and stuff. And I would have to say one of the favorite tools or favorite like concepts or ideas that really freed me so much was, you know, Rachel was talking about, you know, Access is empowering us to step into being infinite beings. It's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Well, doesn't matter, but the parameters of infinite being are an infinite being does perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving. And what we've been taught to function from is thinking, feeling, emoting, and sex and no sex, which is like the lower harmonic of receiving on this planet. And just that simple change of perspective created a situation for me in my very first foundation class, which again was one of those classes 15 years ago with the bars in it, where my facilitator got me to re-reference my thing about being able to feel everybody's pain, because I could. I was like, oh, I feel this and I feel that. And he said to me, okay, if you just change that and started to say, I perceive this, I perceive this. I literally, when I came to Access, I was in pain all the time. And I had no idea why or how. I was very much thinking there was something very wrong with me in my body as a result of it. I was like, maybe I have cancer, maybe this, maybe that. Like, I've got some major problem, but no one can figure out what it is. And, I realized that I'm just fucking aware. My body actually is aware of other people's bodies and energies and just life-changing, world-changing stuff. And my body, as a result, is not in pain all the time anymore at all. And, you know, we have these bodywork tools where it just allows our bodies to be way more than anyone's ever given them credit for. So I'd say the body stuff that you get even in the foundation class is just, it's world-changing. It's amazing. So I just wanted to add that piece. Thank you. I know I've been talking. I'll shut up.
No, keep going.
She's talking for me as well. So.
Yeah.
Is that it? Cool, I'll shut up.
That's Saul's contribution. Saul's an amazing dude, by the way, guys. Yeah, but this is not. Yeah. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, cool. So, have we got any other? Have we got any questions, or is anybody wanting to say one last thing before we go?
Can I just give a shout out to a place that you guys can all go to see what's happening in Australia, and it's the Access Consciousness Australian microsite. I don't know if everyone knows about this yet, so I just wanted to give you guys that URL. It's very easy to remember. It's accessdownunder.com, and the searches on that particular microsite will bring up just stuff that's happening in Australia, so it makes it a lot more easy to find.
Someone type that in the chat for us, and then we can send that out as well.
So whatever you're looking for, bars trades, bars classes, foundation classes, like anything, practitioner, like all the searches there, and it's really easy. It has the whole year tour as well, happening with like Gary Dane, Simone Millicis, Brendan Watt, like all the advanced classes and everything that's happening down here in Australia.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What else is possible? You've been busy, beavers.
And I think the other thing, it would be awesome, maybe Lauren, you could also mention that, you know, just that we've got Dane coming here in soon and Gary, and that this really is the class that gives people access to receive from these friggin' amazing men and gentlemen and beings. So yeah,
The foundation class is actually the class that is required before all of the classes that Gary and Dane do, except with like very few exceptions that, you know, you can get to a class with Gary or Dane without the foundation. So like, for instance, the energetic synthesis of being, Dane is doing in Melbourne in November. The choice of possibilities, Gary is doing in Noosa also in November, end of November. And all of the like body classes and pretty much everything else you have to have taken a foundation to get to. So get to a foundation.
Yeah, I also believe foundation is the prerequisite for 3-day body classes and advanced body classes as well. So if you're really big into the body, foundation, well, there are like 3 or 4 body processes in that. In foundation too, so your body is not forgotten. I do know some people will say, why do we have to do bars before we do foundation? Because we actually use that as a tool in foundation to help us, to help our bodies, you know, make the changes that we've been desiring. So for some of you that are watching this or listening to this, and you haven't even done a bars class, find a bars class, and you should be able to find it on that accessdownunder.com, yeah? In Australia.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I'm really grateful for all of you guys showing up tonight. This is pretty much a last minute thing, as so many of us do that. And also I'd like to thank Gary and Dane for, you know, like, the number of times that a number of classes I've gone to, and you know, I've had something dire going on, because you all know me, drama queen, and they ask a few questions, they do a process, and it's like, wow, what would I do without these guys in my life? And so I'm very, very grateful for the tools of Access, for everybody that shows up in Access, because everybody brings a little bit of what they know to the plate, and that's why every class can be so different and so life-changing. So if we have no other questions, let's call it a wrap, and what else is possible?
And Liam, I would just also like to thank you so much for, you know,
thanks,
and putting it together and being the oneness and the no competition, and just being friggin' amazing. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Receive.
Yeah, thanks. Very grateful, Liam. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
See you next time.
Thank you.